In this session, we will learn about subordinate clause. Before learning subordinate clauses, let us revise some of the basic definitions. Like sentence. What is a sentence? A sentence is a basic unit of language which expresses a complete thought. A complete sentence has at least a subject and a main verb to state a complete thought. Example, Suraj runs. Here, Suraj is a subject and runs is a verb. Now we will look at types of sentences. There are three types of sentences. They are simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. What do you mean by simple sentence? A sentence consisting of only one clause is a simple sentence. That means it has a subject, a verb, and an object. Example, the dog barked at Neha. What is a compound sentence? A sentence consisting of at least two independent clauses joined by a comma, semicolon, or conjunction. Example, I really want to work, but I'm too sick. Here, there are two independent sentences. One is, I really want to work, and one more sentence, I'm too sick. So these two sentences are joined by but. This is a conjunction. So when two independent sentences are joined by a conjunction, comma or semicolon, it becomes a compound sentence. Third one, complex sentence. If two clauses are connected with a subordinate conjunction, it's a complex sentence. Example, although she is fond of ice creams, she did not eat it. Here also there are two clauses. One is she is fond of ice creams. One more, she did not eat it. It is connected by subordinate conjunction although. So such type of sentences which are connected by a subordinate conjunction, they are called as complex sentence. Let us quickly revise what are clauses. A clause is the basic unit of grammar. A clause must contain a verb. Typically, a clause is made up of a subject, a verb phrase. There are two types of clauses. One is independent clause and dependent clause. What is an independent clause? It has a subject, action or predicate, and it expresses a complete thought. Independent clause contains all the information necessary to be a complete sentence. Dependent clause, it has subject, verb. It does not express a complete thought. Dependent clause cannot stand alone as a sentence. Example for independent clause, he wrote. It expresses a complete thought. It is a sentence. Example for dependent clause, when he wrote. It doesn't say anything about what happened later. So it just says when he wrote. Let us see main clause and subordinate clause. A complex sentence consists of one or more clauses which could be a combination of two or more main clauses or a combination of main and subordinate clause. What do you mean by main clause? A main clause is a clause that makes sense on its own and can also exist in a sentence on its own. It is independent clause. What do you mean by subordinate clause? It's a clause that does not make sense on its own and cannot be a sentence on its own. The subordinate clause explains or completes the meaning in the main clause. That means it's a dependent clause. As we saw in the last slide, two main clauses are joined by and, but, or. Example, Peter came to the party and the celebration started. So here this is a separate sentence and this is a separate sentence. And when a sentence consists of a main clause and a subordinate clause, they are joined by subordinating conjunction, also known as a subordinator, such as when, because, although, etc. When subordinate clauses begin sentences, they are often separated by commas. Example, if you are ever in France, comma, let's visit Paris. Reference list of subordinators. This is a list of subordinators as if, after, in case, since, when. Subordinators are linking words that are used to join clauses together. They are used at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence.